Anderson Silva is one of the best fighters known in the world today in the sport of mixed martial arts. But Anderson Silva did not get where he's at through just physical strength or his own abilities. He had help, and this help comes from an art called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is commonly known as the most effective, the most efficient martial art known on the planet today. The reason that this is commonly believed is because rather than just being all theory, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has proven itself throughout time and throughout history. Alright, first, start off with a little bit of background on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from an art called Judo. Judo originated in Japan. And the thing that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has in common with Judo that, it kept from Judo was that kept Judo kind of different from a lot of the other martial arts at the time, where Judo was a sport. It was used for fitness and it had a scoring system. So it was under sport rules, and that's what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kept up because it wanted to keep the sport and the competition, there, so that your art's truly effective. Because if you don't have sport in your art, then it might not be as effective. That's the theory according to a lot of these guys. Masuda Miyata is the guy who brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over. Actually, from Japan, he brought Judo over to Brazil. And Carlos Gracie is the guy responsible. He was a student of Miyata who took the art, did some changes, and made it effective for him and his body. And he made up what we know as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The main differences he had made was his theory on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was that it should be applicable for anybody to be able to use. So he wasn't the biggest or strongest guy himself, so he wanted it to be where the art wasn't affected by those things, where Judo, it kind of was affected by those things, even though it still was highly effective. So in his creation of these things, Carlos Gracie effectively created this art that no one else had really messed with the groundwork before. But he didn't want to just create it, he wanted to prove its effectiveness, which is where he started what he known as the Gracie Challenge. The Gracie Challenge was a challenge where Carlos Gracie competed in maybe 2,000 matches, never to be defeated, and he was allowing people to use whatever style they wanted to use. No rules in the thing. You just went, and he was never defeated. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu though has adapted, and it's been different. You have mixed martial arts today, and mixed martial arts today, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys who might lose every now and then, but that's because due to the fact that everyone's changed because of what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu showed them. Everyone has now Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in their game, because without Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you'll be defeated every time, just like everyone else was, because it's the art of arm locks and things, and these things are 100% effective. Carlos Gracie says in his book of theories and techniques that 95 to 99% of all fights will eventually end up on the ground. This is crucial, because if you can make your art work for you, and you're an expert on the ground and you get it there 95.9% of the time, that's a pretty effective art. So also, he states that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is truly the only art where you can conquer size and strength 100%. You know, he says all the other arts, the size and strength still kind of play a factor in there and can affect a person. And here I'm going to show you something about that. This is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi, which is the uniform they train in. They make this so that you can pull on it, and what it's going to do is it's going to take away any athletic advantage a person might have. And the reason they do this is simply because they want to be at that disadvantage so you don't get used to having the advantage. So it helps both people either way. With where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is currently headed, I would love to see how the adaptations, how much better they finally make it, and how far this art can truly get. It's been proven to be the most effective art, and through more and more competition, it'll only continue to improve.